Wow. The thing's going through my head right now is I really want to make my speech, but I'm actually really aware of how bad and how much I've been honor killed and how I'm being really persecuted as being ugly, my face for such a long period of time. I'm just saying this as a case of equaling the power dynamics and the structure oppression that I've had. I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm not. I'm actually doing it as a victim that's actually lost basically everything. They have, the human degrading of me like an animal, like tagging my vagina and ruining it and doing sexual acts of violence in front of other people is humiliating, and then to deny me justice and to have me under this conservative of Britney Spears and these channels degrading me is kind of like I'm left here like victimized and powerless, and I just want to say I'm trying to keep my name alive, not because of anything else, but I want you to know that I did this work, and it is not a case of just being some sociopath. I did this through heart, through my legacy, my ancestry, the things that my family had brought forward in my life, and I brought it forward because I wanted to bring honor to my family as the eldest child and to make my life better. And I have always had my own mind. I've been a very dependent partner on men, but I've always had my own mind. Um, I'm definitely being stigmatized and discriminated. I'm already outcast to the point where I'm totally wiped out of Christchurch. It's a complete loss of life, because that started in that city about 7 years ago. There is the unfairness of the situation as there's been no investigation to the water tainting and chemical abuse from government years ago, 2017. There was no compensation for loss of people, um, by poisoning, by those kings going on that I was too ugly for love, and then them using my esteemed work as a way to publicise them and promote them in the culture of New Zealand to integrate them into a society where I was already integrated at quite a good standard of living and a good standard of esteem with other people. They basically have been mimicking the works that I have done in action to have some sort of appearance and establish kind of like a acceptance and approval from other people. And this is where I've been really shafted because I just got capital punishment punished. Is she the real choice in a union when it was a very unfair situation? um, because I'm not competing with anybody, and I won't, and I don't sleep with married men. And to know that after something I went through, they got into being movie stars on Tenant while I was overseas trying to get my rights for persecution in Australia. It's a very shattered uh, whole. It's a shattered reality. It's not a real. So anyway, I've had poisoning in homes, gang stalking, stealing of private information, public humiliation, public um, outcasting, and showing my privacy. And I was marketed as ugly Gigi with no compensation for that violence. They deny me the right to be a victim in this situation. I've had 7 years of employment harassment and discrimination, and I just want you to know I'm too highly skilled for me not to get a job. And I'm not saying I'm like a CEO of any company, but all of my skills are really employable skills. And I've got skills when it comes to white collar and blue collar because I kept it going in my life. I had to. I've watched my mum survive. I know how to survive anything. So I don't mind being called a cockroach because I've had to survive in this life, and I've been really successful in life, and I've actually been in poverty. So it's really difficult for me with this classism because it's kind of holding me hostage into some class system that's not really. The thing about counselling and psychiatry is that a psychiatrist puts you in a box and there's no room for growth. Counselling does not put you in a box, it makes you grow. It makes you expand, it makes you be the best you can be. Putting me into a box of being in poverty is not helping me grow my wealth, is it? It's actually you're discriminating, you're condemning me, you're outcasting me, you're holding me hostage, you're blocking me moving forward in life for 7 years. All on TikTok, I've been exploited for years and years and years. as a Halloween face and the most ugliest woman in the whole world, which was torture and a form of genocide. Like the culture erasure of somebody and a whole group of people is genocide. It is premeditated and it is malice. The flower, these are all things that are injustice for me. The flower, flea, price, market extortion, and Tiffany market value, and the racial segregation of France is a real criminal war crime. And they have basically came and held my family hostage to work in these flower markets and showing me having sex as Flo, the old tit lady, I think. And it is theft of somebody's honour and somebody's dignity. My hair, I am having trouble. I've got all these people are giving me products. I've got products. It's not tamed because of my thyroid issues from the chemical exposure and the exposure of bioweapons of these mold bacterial weapons that they keep using on me. It's all in my tents. The problem is every time I've got the evidence, they erase it and they're keeping me isolated. I've been isolated for so long without help, and I have got texts saying I want help. I'm not ashamed to need help. I've asked for help, but the thing is it's a one world order where the whole governments are all cracking down for this fascist regime to be one line of thinking, and if I have to be snuffed out and killed, I will. And it's horrible. This fascist regime is about causing not equality, but it's about causing major inequality of rights. I haven't had rights for 7 years, if you think about it, because my workplaces have been getting pummeled by police violence and denying me the right to live freely and create my own wealth after abuse. You know, the other things is the theft of my quality of data for the tiny homes that I was looking at getting and having for homeless people, the homestead cooking and keto cooking and paleo cooking that I do has been stolen and they've been making them into businesses. The inspiration, these are all inspirational things for me. The way I got politically like destroyed of love and put in the trash of political poo, without intervention or protection, because you know they people doing this imperialism just don't give a shit and are basically overriding the justice system. It is all about just taking over power, and the land grabs, the disposition, the long-standing bullying of my appearance, where I am abused, and brainwashing of other people to not trust me as a bad um, character for a very long time. I think all my family's been a part of this. I've been abused and brutalized. The ethics were not there. If you have got your face ruined, you do not need to be exploited by a music industry, by a government, on a Silk Road, by your friends, everything. And they are really undercutting me when it comes to work. They're filming me non-stop, making people copy me. And then it's kind of like you're flooding the market in any niche market that I have some sort of talent or natural disposition for, so I can't make money in that area because a lot of money has been put into these other people doing it out of spite. Um, you know, I went to do all these creative projects of art, baking candles, homemade Empress work, stolen call center communication. When I did that in 2023, I went through about, I don't know, probably 200 advertisements and applications, and I was basically constantly shut down. They were so interested in me, these people, but because of corruption and the landowners, they were coming in and cutting me off, showing that I'm drama in the community and to not associate with me. All of my stay home work was sabotaged, my spiritual journey, the right to social services. I mean, I've had discipline in the past. I must have. If I had um, a spiritual belief system of keeping my life clean and not just sleeping around, because I haven't just slept around. That's the misconception of me. My jobs of the skills that are employable: cleaning, organisation, decluttering, and they're trying to make out that I'm dirty. High-end cafe type cooking and homestead cooking, and they're trying to make out I'm too dirty to cook and I'm really bad at cooking. Cafe catering, hospitality, craft and creative work. Well, they've flooded that creative industry out, and I've been a designer for almost 12 years in many areas. So I could start it again if I wanted to, but once you're in poverty, you actually need all the equipment, and it's not that easy to just do it again. This isn't an act to be better or show arrogance. It's just to show I've evolved in my life and I learned skills and I kept it going. I find value in the routine and the fact of having human relationships with all walks of life. I've also been inhumanely injected by our government with schizophrenic tags. So I've got a digital ID against my will, which I'm really, really angry about. The statistics that are holding my life hostage, and I just want to say, even though the statistics say that I've been unemployed for all these years, why was I making money and very, very successful before the regime 2017? Like, they just killed me as a fraud of disability, and they kept making out I'm a fraud to everybody, and all these newspapers to say I'm not to be trusted. It was a murder of honor killing, and that's where the community kills you and puts you at a lower social standing. Insults and cruelty from friends and family in the fascist regime. A femicide led by Leanne, which many people that I know in high places are leaking to me, and she has too much backing from the police, so there is no way there'll be justice in that situation. A belief systems that I don't want to work in this prejudice to create huge discrimination while I'm sitting here paralyzed without a way out, without a way to talk to people, without a way, because it's they're controlling every area. They've got a garden controlling the community, and they're all walking around emailing. They're controlling my house with racial segregation and controlling my identity through this house through painting walls. Then they're controlling my family on this flower system. Then they're controlling the social systems and the system. So they're really just putting me as lower class, and I don't deserve it. I've got too much education. The gangs of cultural advantage have taken my family to hold hegemony, and I got illegally adopted and not looked after. I just got mistreated as the ugliest woman in the whole world again. They've taken and sexual violence without any justice. They say when I got punched in the head and I was a victim that it's my fault, and that's what I want to complain about. The humanity in this situation's gone. Friends by illegal abuse and Britney's radar abuse of human GPS, ethnic cleansing, silencing, and the machinery of a tower of hate, building a life legacy of these VIPs over the murder of me with my knowledge. Demoralization, theft of my light, capital punishment to ugly for love, then cruel depravity of tapes to destroy honour, and a hate crime of face abuse to keep hegemony in society. It's just why? How long is this going to go on for? I've had 7 years of financial abuse, and they've manipulated the public to say that I don't want to work and that I'm lying here because I'm lazy, and I'm not. I would work. There's problems with my kidneys that haven't been seen. They've got equity of resources gated out of the American community. And what scares me about being a refugee is they've tagged me digitally with these statistics, and they won't let me have any emotional support when I've got a special need, and they're not letting me go back to any bosses that actually have seen me hardworking and have seen my skills, have seen the brilliance of my work and my work ethic. They won't let me find these people. I've got a few written letters. I've got letters from Christian centres, and that's the other thing. They've been sexually violating me and degrading me, anally raping me, and making me have sex with all these black men, and it's just horrible. They're really trying to make me a Maori, and I'm not a Maori. My lineage is Irish and Chinese, and I was around high value society and privileged people because of working my way to the top. And they've dropped me down to the bottom, and I'm saying it's not that I'm prejudiced against Maori people, but I'm not a lowlife. They're using the word Maori like a lowlife. It's not like, because my cousins are all Maori and they are all thriving in life. Like, they're all educated, they're all working for the army, things like this. It's not, to me, it's about having the right people around and having the right nurturing systems and the right support systems to make somebody a better person. You can't just succeed on your own. Success is a shared situation, and that's what they're doing. They're making sure everyone's got shares in this business and co-governance, and I'm being kicked out. But they're also taking over the culture and the communities, and that should have been there to protect me. So should have the government. So I'm just being left to die in this situation. And Sweden also dropped the ball and didn't give me help with Ruth's family of influencers and Amanda with her IQ bus, like extorting on this bus, and this Brittany girl who has got some sort of tag on me with digital identification, like constantly filming me, like after my face got ruined, saying I'm fucking ugly for the family. I feel like I should be compensated for the abuse and the humiliation. It's hard enough being a human surviving trauma and psychopath abuse, but to have it like to shamed out of society by these women that are getting all their privilege, all this privilege, and shaming the way I look, it's tough. It's really horrible.